What's going on, everybody? How you doing? My name is Octavius Prime. Today we're going to do a few reactions to Donald Trump and his speech on the Angel family, and also fact check some of the stuff that he talked about. I do know that he will be doing the union address later tonight, and we will get into that as well. I did also prepare a video essay that I put together myself to fact check, and also with the help of AI as well. You know, to fact check some of the things he said in his speech. And there were a lot of inaccuracies in the speech, and so I want to talk about that, right? So y'all sit back, relax as we get started. Thank y'all so much for coming through. So let me go ahead and play that.
Into a room of ideas, any room. We expect a basic contract. The speaker will speak to facts, the listener will seek truth, and the space between them will be filled with reason, evidence, and reality. Tonight's speech, delivered in a tone of urgency and alarm, promises to diagnose America's deepest wounds. It frames itself as a declaration of crisis, a testament to danger and betrayal. But before we dive into the emotional gravity of the events discussed, we must first confront the difference between feeling true and being true. This speech was powerful in rhetoric, powerful in tone, and undeniably crafted to move the human heart. But power of speech is not the same as grounding in evidence. Our task tonight is to separate the signal from the noise, the empirical from the emotional, and to do so not with ridicule, but with diligence. It is not an attack on the person speaking. It is an assessment of his claims.
So we're going to
that is the
basically
essence of
analyze
responsible
Donald Trump
commentary,
and his speech
and it
he
is
did
the
last
foundation of this fact-driven analysis. The border and the numbers. A reality check. One of the central pillars of the speech was the claim that America has been overrun, not just by immigrants, but by dangerous criminals pouring through an open border. Statements like 25 million people invaded our country unchecked, and 888 murderers were allowed to roam free are dramatic and horrifying. But what do the facts actually show? First, let's talk about the number 25 million. That figure has been widely circulated in political commentary, yet it doesn't align
Please hit the like button on the way in, guys.
And immigration
and I will be doing
authorities.
some reactions to the
A thorough
video.
review
We
by
will
fact
start
check
playing that in a minute.
found that
But in
an
the meantime,
estimate
what's
of
going
about
on, Rob?
1/3 of that figure is more realistic when accounting for detained migrants, those processed and released with orders, and those who evaded capture altogether. In other words, the claim of 25 million unique individuals crossing without checks is not grounded in verified government data. It's an inflated figure without citation. Using such a number can create fear, but fear is not evidence. Next, 1188 murderers. This claim sounds precise, almost surgical, but precision does not equal truth. The number comes from a count of non-citizens with homicide convictions on a particular ICE docket, many of whom entered the country decades ago and are serving sentences elsewhere, or were lawfully admitted long before the current administration. The context matters. Being counted on a list is not the same as being allowed into the country under a specific policy. And even if the figure were accurate as stated in some records, a point we will come back to, using it to imply current border policy caused, that is a logical leap unsupported by evidence. Let's also address the repeated narrative that immigrants collectively commit crime at higher rates than citizens. Research shows this is not the case. In fact, some peer-reviewed studies suggest that in many jurisdictions, undocumented immigrants are arrested at lower rates than native-born populations for violent crime categories. Even the framing of criminals at the border blends two very different categories: people who might cross illegally, which is a civil offense, and those who commit violent felony crimes. That blending is rhetorically powerful, but it misrepresents how the criminal justice and immigration systems actually function. Crime rates and law enforcement, myths versus data. Let's shift to another cornerstone of tonight's address, the claim that crime is surging, that America is on hell, and that federal crime data have been fudged to hide the truth. When violence spikes and tragic events capture national attention, It's natural to want a name, a cause, a narrative. But the National Crime Victimization Survey and the FBI's Uniform Crime Reports are not political instruments. They are compiled from thousands of local law enforcement agencies and reflect trends over time. According to available FBI data, preliminary as they may be, violent crime nationwide has trended downward in recent years, and murder rates in particular saw significant decreases. Contrary to claims that the FBI is faking numbers to protect a political narrative, crime statistics are based on reports submitted directly by police departments across the country.
Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button for me in the
participate
meantime.
with,
Drop on
or
down.
without any
Say
federal
what's up,
encouragement.
whatever.
Using crime as a political cudgel is not unique to one political perspective. It has happened throughout American history. But claiming that the FBI inventory of data is inherently fraudulent because it doesn't match a narrative is not an evidence-based position. We also need to be mindful of how data collection works. Crime statistics change slowly over time and are influenced by numerous factors including economic trends, technology, policing strategies, and demographic shifts. Picking a strict comparison from one year to another, especially a period skewed by the pandemic, does not provide a full picture. But the suggestion that the entire national crime database exists to conceal truth is not supported by the structure or transparency of the data reporting system itself. Election integrity. Assertions beyond evidence. Now we move to perhaps the most geopolitically charged topic of recent decades: election integrity. At the core of this speech was the repeated assertion that
no, those pics came. Those are the Epstein Files, baby.
Was somehow manipulated, rigged, or fraudulent. The claim that millions of illegal votes were cast, that the system was tampered with, or that outcomes were steered away from the real
this is not AI, baby. We just doing
the emotional backbone of many political speeches in recent years. Yet when courts, independent election officials, and bipartisan reviews examine these claims, the overwhelming conclusion is that there is no evidence of widespread voter fraud sufficient to alter national election outcomes. In the case of the 2020 election,
Alright, so we kind of touched on that. Let's go ahead and get into it. So y'all think it's AI? No, I'm a whole human being. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you subscribe. Don't be a hater all your life. You know, I know y'all love demagogues and things like that. You know what I'm saying? But it's me, Octavius. It's me. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into it. Oh, I gotta actually take this down now. So let's get into the content. Alright. Alright, so before we get into that, before we get into the speech, let's talk about Mar-a-Lago. I live pretty much like 2.5 miles away from Mar-a-Lago. It's on the other side of the bridge. Okay. Mar-a-Lago, South Ocean. I used to work in front of the Mar-a-Lago. I used to go there almost every day, and I used to work in Palm Beach. So, and my father actually was one of the original, you know what I'm saying, he plastered there. You know, he used to plaster and do the molding inside of Mar-a-Lago. So inside of Mar-a-Lago, my dad actually did the ceilings and stuff like that. The molding and stuff like that inside. So my brother, I wasn't there to work there. My brother was there to work with him at the time because my brother's older. Okay. But anyway, let's get into it. I want to show y'all. So y'all, we're going to look at the news report real quick. All right. All right, so this is what happened. For those who want to know.
The individual was armed with a shotgun in a...
So before we get into it, it was a 21-year-old white male that jumped the fence over at Mar-a-Lago. And it's kind of easy. It's kind of easy to do because there's a big parking lot. And look like they're in the rear of Mar-a-Lago. So when you go over Southern Boulevard Bridge, you can see that it's like a big parking lot and the wall is right there. So, and there's a lot of bushes around it. And even though the Secret Service and the sheriff's office, you know what I'm saying? I think the Sheriff Bradshaw, from Palm Beach Sheriff's Office or whatever. So when you go to Southern Boulevard sometimes, or you go over there, to South Ocean or North Ocean, because it's like that's where the conjunction is, and there's a roundabout in that area as well. There's a lot of bushes that cling to the side of, and I got videos on my page of Mar-a-Lago. I got some fresh ones as well on my page and my shorts showing Mar-a-Lago or whatever. So it kind of pushed me in the Trump algorithm by accident. That and also Sylvester Stallone, for those that don't know, he lives in Palm Beach as well. So even though there's high security in that area, the sheriff's office is always over there. They always have a presence. And then you have the Secret Service as well. That was there as well. And this 20-year-old, he jumped the fence with a shotgun and a gas can. Who knows what he was going to do? And they pretty much took him out. You know what I'm saying? So the sheriff's officer and I think it was 2 Secret Service agents took him down. You know what I'm saying? So he was killed.
And a possession of a gasoline canister. Agents and the deputy discharged their firearms to stop the threat. At this time, no law enforcement personnel were injured during the incident. We want to be clear, the President of the United States was not in the state of Florida. And this remains an active investigation by the FBI.
Good morning. I'm Peter Ducey in Washington. This is the Sunday briefing. We are following breaking news this morning. The U.S. Secret Service shot and killed an armed man who unlawfully entered the perimeter at Mar-a-Lago early this morning at 1:30 this morning. The Associated Press.
Now, he said Secret Service. What he did, because I watched the local news on this, and I really want to pull up the local news to talk about this. It's more than what Fox is talking about. You know, give credit to Fox News. But it was the sheriff's department involved in that as well, along with 2 other Secret Service agents that killed the man. All right. So you can see right here, you can look at my mouse in this area right here. That's the parking lot I think that's the parking lot. Let me see. Yeah, I think that's the parking lot I was just telling you guys about. Where there's like big parking lots around the whole space because it is a club as well. And then me and my girlfriend came from DC. We chilled out and even looked like they blocked off a certain section. I don't know if they did it because of the shooting, but on Clematis Street here in West Palm Beach, they blocked off a certain section of Clematis Street and Flagler that goes along the Intercoastal. And I think it went all the way down to Southern Boulevard where Donald Trump, that bridge that takes you over to Mar-a-Lago, the White House of the South, as they call it, or whatever. So, see the park and see the bushes and everything I was telling you guys about, or whatever. Okay, this right here, so let me show you. This right here is this area right here. I'm telling you because I used to work there almost every day, go there every day. This right here, this curve, this is South Ocean, North Ocean. I think it merges, it changes its name around that time. You know what I'm saying? But this is South Ocean or North Ocean. And then you go here, there's a roundabout right here. All right. There's a wall that goes around this area. And this is the parking lot what you see when you go over Southern Boulevard. Right? So I'm telling you as a person, a native that lives here, and I've been to the place. You know what I'm saying? I worked there. I worked there as a state agent doing, things with the gas lines and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So they had to allow me in because they always doing construction. If they do any digging, at that point, I had to show up when I used to work over in Palm Beach.
Is out with some new details right now. They have named, and we have confirmed the name of the suspect, 21-year-old Austin Tucker Martin. According to the Associated Press in this bulletin that just crossed, he was reported missing by his family a few days ago. investigators believe he headed south and picked up a shotgun along the way, and they think that because they found a box for the shotgun in his car. The FBI is right now asking people that live near Mar-a-Lago to check their doorbell cameras, check any cameras that they have in their yards, so they can figure out exactly how this guy got into the area. But it is now believed, according to the AP, that he might have piggybacked behind a vehicle entering Mar-a-Lago lawfully when the gate opened. For more on this right now, let's go to Fox News correspondent Lucas Tomlinson. He is at the White House.
And to be honest, it wasn't built to be a secure place. It's a club. So it's a club. All right. For other millionaires. And I think the ticket to go to Mar-a-Lago at one point was like $25,000. And I guarantee it's like way up there now since he's president. So it's not really, it wasn't built with the design. There's a lot of land. And I guess you do have the dot. If you were trying to run to the house, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of grass, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, there's a lot of shrubbery. And because these mansions in Palm Beach, they love privacy. They usually have these big walls with a bunch of bushes, bougainvilleas, that's like stickers. That's a security bush. It's like a natural security bush because it's got stickers in it. So, but if a person were to scale the fence, run across the grass, you know what I'm saying? And I have seen marksmen on top of Mar-a-Lago, and I've actually seen armed guards, you know what I'm saying, years ago with the AR-15s and stuff like that, sometimes standing on the lawn on certain days.
House where President Trump was while this all unfolded overnight. Lucas.
Good morning, Peter. President Trump was at the White House this weekend. He was not in Palm Beach where this incident occurred. And the Secret Service says they were assisted by Palm Beach County deputies who assisted in shooting the suspect, as you mentioned.
Like I told you, the local news said that it was Palm Beach County deputies that were involved, the sheriff's office.
Named 21-year-old Austin Martin of North Carolina. And that press conference just wrapped up in Palm Beach. It was pretty lengthy. Here are some more details, Peter.
At 1:30 this morning, the security detail detected that
that's Rick Bradshaw. That's our local county sheriff right there. I've seen him a bunch of times throughout the years, actually.
Had made his way into the inner perimeter of Mar-a-Lago. A deputy and 2 Secret Service agents on the detail went to that area to investigate. They confronted a white male that was carrying a gas can and a shotgun. He was ordered to drop those 2 pieces of equipment that he had with him, at which time he put down the gas can.
And let me tell you, I don't know if Trump owns a piece of land down the street, but I don't know if I saw Blackwater or it was some private military security that looked like it's more secure than Mar-a-Lago. Like I said, I was able to go almost everywhere because I was an agent for the state to mark off some of the piping and things like that were on the ground. And sometimes they ordered me to come to some of these properties. When I got there, it was a bunch of white males. Looked like all of them were like 30. Nobody was older than 35. From from 25 to about 35 years old, in extremely great shape, pulling up in black SUVs with 45 Magnums. 45 Magnum SIGs. I got a SIG myself. I got the same gun. I said, they got 45. They didn't have a 9mm. You know what I'm saying? So, it's a lot of stuff going on over on that island, bro. It's a lot of stuff going over there on that island.
Raised the shotgun to a shooting position at that point.
And when they pull up on you, they are getting out. When they pull up on you, they're pulling up on you like military, or not like policemen, on some military shit. They pulling up on you on some military type of time. All right, like, you know, when they tell you to do something, just, you know what I'm saying, just do it.
time, the deputy and the 2 Secret Service agents fired their weapons and neutralized the threat. He is deceased at the scene.
Here's a map showing the north gate of the Mar-a-Lago compound, the winter White House, if you will, a place President Trump visits often during the winter months. The president had been spending the weekend here at the White House, where he hosted governors from across the country. And here's a photo the deputy showed showing the shotgun and the gas can used by Austin, again, 21 years old from North Carolina, who was shot and killed when he threatened officers by assuming that shooting position and after he was asked to drop the items. Now, we're told that no Secret Service officers or the Palm Beach County deputies officers were hurt during this incident. The FBI is joining in the investigation. It's worth noting, Peter, that the Secret Service did this one on the House because DHS isn't being funded right now during this partial government shutdown.
And Lucas, to your point about the DHS funding, the first White House reaction just came in from Caroline Leavitt. She has posted, in the middle of the night while most Americans were asleep, the United States Secret Service acted quickly and decisively to neutralize a crazy person armed with a gun and a gas canister who intruded President Trump's home. Federal law enforcement are working 24/7 to keep our country safe and protect all Americans. It's shameful and reckless that Democrats have chosen to shut down their department. Something else, Lucas, you mentioned that the FBI is the lead on this. More breaking reaction. The FBI Director, Kash Patel, in full screen 16, if we could pull that up in control. FBI is dedicating all necessary resources in the investigation of this morning's incident at President Trump's Mar-a-Lago, where an armed individual was shot and killed after unlawfully entering the perimeter. We will continue working closely with Secret Service as well as our state and federal partners, and will provide updates as we are able. Lucas, from where you sit at the White House, I know that for people watching who aren't familiar with the layout there, when there's a big world event, typically the security posture will be beefed up a little bit. They might close an extra street. There might be some extra guys. Sometimes.
And they did, because when I think when we came back, when it was, because right before we went to, me and my girlfriend, right before we went to Miami, I think it was Saturday. I don't know, it was maybe it was Sunday. We tried going there Sunday or Monday. We tried going down to, no, it was Monday and Tuesday, and then Wednesday we was in Miami. All right. No, Wednesday we was in Miami. Tuesday night we went to Miami, whatever. All right, so it was Monday. So we tried going down to Clematis Street, Flagler, along Flagler. That's the inlet. Trump lives on the barrier island on the east side of where I stay. So that I'm on the mainland, and on the other side of the inlet is Palm Beach. All right. They look like they blocked off that whole section from Clematis Street with concrete barriers with red tape or something, like red, like they were red. So that'll make it very express. This was not construction. No, they don't want your ass over there. Okay. And I think this happened around the same time that the shooting happened. So maybe it was investigating Flagler and trying to like do whatever kind of forensics they can see how this guy got into Mar-a-Lago.
The guys that are normally there have bigger guns than usual. Have you noticed anything on campus that seems different than it would be on a normal day when there is not somebody at Mar-a-Lago with a shotgun and a gas canister?
Well, Peter, when I got here this morning, the first thing I noticed was just the tone of the Secret Service. And it was a lot more earnest today. It was very serious. When I passed through, had tried to ask about the incident, and it was a very muted response, as you can imagine. And everyone here just seems a lot more focused. As far as security goes, looking around, don't see a whole lot more visible. Pennsylvania Avenue, of course, has been closed for years, and there were.
And I really want to research what I discovered about the guy. Like the news has not really digged into his life, so they're not like really talking about him or his political affiliations or like really going into it like they did with a lot of other shooters, especially in Florida. So in Florida, we're known for having these crazy, the Cruz dude. You know, they did all kind of forensics. They looked at like what kind of orange he like. You know what I'm saying? And he was watching gay porn and all kind of weird stuff, and he was like, all that type of profile. The news has done a poor job explaining to us as the public, at least what I've seen so far, who this person is, what was his motivation, why was he there, if he was there, things like that. I have people in the chat that were saying like it seems suspect and some conspiracy theory type stuff or whatever. We'll see. You know what I'm saying? We'll see. But I believe there's a lot more to the story with this young man that did what he did, if he did it. But we believe that he did it. We don't know if he did it. But that's what they tell us. All right? Bring this up back. All right, let me go here. All right, so what y'all came here for? All right, so let me pull that video up, and we're gonna review that. All right, so we're gonna play the angel family ceremony in President Donald Trump. Before we get into that, I just wanted to tell you some of the contradictions and things that were in what he said. Crime is down, and like my AI already explained to you guys that the illegal aliens, they don't get arrested on the same tier as us Americans. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of contradictions of what he's saying in the speech or whatever, and I'll stop it ever so often to talk about that. But he was making $25 million, and this was one of the greatest invasions of like immigrants, and they're dangerous and things like that. You know what I mean? Now, I do believe that like being illegal is a crime. You know what I'm saying? You can't get around that. That's the law. Okay? It's the reason why we have citizenship. So I'm not gonna like act like, be over liberal with things. So, but anyway, we're gonna listen to what Trump got to say about it. So let's go ahead and show that.
Thank you very much. It's a big day. Very important day for me. Should be important for everybody, including the media. But they don't really cover it fairly, I will tell you that. It's shocking. Please sit down. Thank you. We gathered here today for a truly solemn occasion. Throughout this hall, I am joined by heartbroken Americans who have lost parents, siblings, children, grandchildren, and treasured loved ones to the scourge of illegal immigration led in by the past.
Yeah, they excluded the black governor. Excluded the black governor, yeah.
Millions and millions of people from jails, millions and millions of people from countries that we don't want to know about.
And if anybody ever took the SAT, one of the things they tell you about like awe and exaggeration of numbers, when they say millions and millions and millions, you know what I mean? We just got to break that down and understand that that's not like true. But let's go ahead and play it.
Drug dealers, murderers, 11,888 murderers were allowed into our country by the Biden administration. These are the angel families that we love, that for decades our government betrayed and our media totally ignored, and I've seen it. When I first got involved with the angel families, I had a meeting. It was so sad. And they got up and spoke, and the media literally just turned off the cameras. They didn't want to hear them. It was my first glimpse as to what was happening. These are sick people that cover stories like that, or that don't cover them, which is worse. Everyone in this room not only suffered an infinite loss, they were the victims of politicians who put the comfort of foreign criminals before the safety of American citizens and American patriots. Their stories were censored and suppressed like maybe almost never before, so that the politicians could open our borders and allow our nation to be invaded.
I will agree with that point, and I do know that doing research myself on controversial issues, liberal issues, they do suppress a lot of the stories, especially when there's an agenda, you know what I'm saying, and there's a voter block. They suppress, the Republicans do it as well. You know what I mean? You know,
If we didn't win the election, our nation would right now be destroyed. But under the Trump administration, their suffering is forgotten no longer. In just a few moments, I officially sign a proclamation that I've been waiting to sign for a long time, including my first administration. There were so many different legal roadblocks, it was incredible. But we got it done, and I'm doing it today. February 22nd is going to be National Angel Family Day. Very important. So many incredible family members and friends.
now I have someone in the chat say you blacks are dramatic. Now this is drama, okay? And the whole thing about this speech, I have no problem with the speech. And like I'm think more of like an independent than anything. I'm not like leaning towards Democrats or anything. But I have been to liberal marches, liberal protests, you know, far left protests, and I've been to far right protests as well, depending on, you know, what I believe is true. Okay. But someone said the blacks are dramatic, and I'm not here to like, okay, I'm not offended by any of that type of stuff. But what I will say to you is that what he is doing is putting on a drama performance. He is calling out a victim of, you know, saying a few immigrants, following a few victims. You're going to see that later. And, you know, we should support all victims, especially, you know, I've lost loved ones and, you know what I'm saying, to the streets, to violence and everything like that. I understand that. But this is a form of manipulation. This is like a Mark Antony speech. You know what I'm saying? Romans, friends, countrymen, lend me your ears, for I have come here to bear Caesar, not praise him. The good that men do, you know, is interior to their bones, and the evil that they do is lives after them, so let it be with noble Caesar. This is a Mark Antony speech. All right? You don't get it twisted. You know, this is rhetoric to a certain degree. This is some truth mixed in with some lies.
Parents and children. On February 22nd, 2 years ago, a brilliant 22-year-old nursing student named Laken Hope Riley went out for a run on a college campus in Georgia. Laken was viciously attacked, brutally beaten and murdered by an illegal alien gang member who the last administration heartlessly released into our country. No problems. Let them in. They let in everybody. They didn't check anybody. They let in everybody. Among the first bills I signed into law after taking office last year was the Laken-Riley Act. I'm so proud of it. To ensure illegal alien criminals are rapidly removed from the United States of America, if that's okay with the media. That bill has already been really playing a big role in the life of our country. It's resulted in over 21,000 illegal alien arrests, 21,000. We're joined this morning by Laken's parents, who I have gotten to know. These are incredible people. And I want to ask Laken's mother, Allison, to please come forward and say a few words, please. Hi, Allison. Hi, sweetie.
Well, this is unexpected, but I think that a lot of people feel like that President Trump is maybe different than the version I've gotten to know. And
Y'all make
I
sure
just
y'all hit
can't
that
thank
like
you
button.
enough.
So we got this one part.
You
Blair
have
Witch, I hope you
said
hit that
from the
like button.
beginning,
Without you
literally,
talking.
the day after this happened, that you would not forget about Laken. You weren't president at that time, and you have not forgotten. You have fought a fight that most people would not want to have to fight. Most people wouldn't. They would just say it's just easier not to do this. And President Trump you are doing a thankless.
I'm gonna be honest, and a lot of you got to be honest as well. We got a racist in the chat, right? I might feel a kind of way about illegal aliens if my child was murdered or my family member was murdered. All right, but this story is brought up also as a way to invoke that xenophobia as well and justify it. In my opinion,
Job that most people just wouldn't do. And I just can't thank you enough. There are just not enough words to say. Because if you've lived the nightmare that we have lived, you understand the importance of the job that he's doing and securing our nation and fighting for our families. Because this could be any family. This happened to my family. This could be any one of your families. And Laken was the most responsible, hardworking, kind, selfless, beautiful Christian. And she wasn't somebody that put herself in bad positions. She didn't make bad choices. She was just a good girl. And she just wanted to go for a run that morning after she'd gotten up at 4 o'clock the morning before to decorate her roommate's door for her birthday. And she did everything for everyone else. She expected nothing in return. She just wanted to be a good friend and a good sister and a good daughter and a hardworking nurse. She was working so hard for. And I'm beyond blessed and thankful that you're honoring not just Laken, because she's one in a ton of people that have suffered at the hands of illegal immigrants. She's not the only one. And so thank you for honoring all of them, not just Laken. And we're just beyond grateful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joe.
I mean, but you can't blame all illegal immigrants. And I'm just saying and I understand that she lost a family member, right? But you can't blame all illegal immigrants, right? Like I can't blame all white people for racism and like the island of Palm Beach. That was my original family's home that Henry Flagler and a lot of those people burnt down and just stole it. So they stole trillions of dollars from me. But can I blame all white people for stealing my wealth? No, I can't. But this is what's happening.
Thank you very much. It's amazing, Allison. You have to go through this. Doesn't get that much easier, does it? Right? Even with time. It's been a while now, and it doesn't get that much easier. But I want to thank you for...
Right. Somebody said Trump couldn't stand up with the survivors of them files, right? The Jeffrey Epstein Files.
In this room is courageous. And we're willing to tell the story. And that I don't know why the news doesn't want to hear it. The Democrats don't want to hear it. The radical left, they don't want to hear it. What's not to hear? We want to stop murderers and criminals from coming into our country. I watched this.
I love how he graphed it, though. I'm just looking at this as like how he's graphing it. It's like we want to stop killers and murderers from coming into this country. Not all the people. They're not all. It's like not all. We already know that. There are some that are murderers and killers that are being released from jail to come to the United States. Yes. All right. All right. And then, like I said, I'm not here to be pro immigrant or nothing like that, but I'm just analyzing this from what it is. This is like a Mark Anthony speech, okay? You know what I'm saying? It's a Mark Anthony speech. This is a form of seduction, all right? Seducing the American people. You know what I mean? You know, flame up that xenophobia for those illegal immigrants and all that kind of stuff. Whatever political agenda. This is politics.
The mayor of Minneapolis, I watch these people saying, we want to protect murderers. I don't get it. Something's sick. They're sick. Can't have a country like that. So we appreciate the bravery of everybody in this room, actually. And Christy, I want to thank you, and I want to thank Tom in particular for, we have a border that's 100% closed now. 100%.
And it's great. It's great.
So Lakin's story is even more tragic because her death was completely preventable. It shouldn't have happened. Guy should never have been here. Not only should her killer not have been released into our country in the first place, but he was released a second time after being arrested in New York City. Here today is a great gentleman, the police officer who arrested that illegal alien. Only
like he said, police officer arrested that illegal alien.
to watch him be set free to kill. I mean, he was arrested and they let him go free. They knew he was trouble, big trouble. Many of them are like that. They release him knowing it's going to kill again, but they released him and set him free to kill Lakin. So I'd like to have Ethan Carreri come up, please. He's a great, highly respected police officer, and you could explain what happened. Come on up. Thank you, Ethan. Thank
you. Mr. President, it's an honor to be here today, and it's an honor to be speaking with you guys. My name is Ethan Carreri. I'm a police officer in Palm Beach County, Florida, and a former New York City police officer. While serving the New York City Police Department, I personally arrested Jose Ibarra for endangering the welfare of a child. A few months later, I saw his face again in the news after he viciously murdered Laken Riley. I did my job. I put him in custody. The system failed. No detainer, no accountability, no deportation, and an innocent American life was taken.
Now, I gotta agree with that. If you're a legal immigrant and you're being accused of murder or something serious, I mean, the government should be considering deporting you. Straight up. You know what I mean? Like, I agree with that. And I've been to anti-ICE protests myself, but if you're in the suspicion of being a child molester, burglary, or you're doing something weird like, murder or whatever you may have been accused of, they should be getting into the process of deporting you, and you should find a way back. If you want to come back to America, you need to find a legal way back. I believe in that. I strongly believe in what the cop just said. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Palm Beach County.
If you enter our country illegally, there will be consequences under this administration. The American citizens must always come first. To Laken Riley's family, your loss should have never happened. We owe it to you and every American family to enforce our laws, secure our border, and protect innocent lives. Mr. President, thank you so much for having me here today, and thank you for all you've done for our country. Thank you.
Thank you. Great job. Thank you very much. I notice you left New York to come to Florida. It's in a way it's too bad, right? But you couldn't take it anymore. They don't let you do your job. But thank you very much, Ethan. Great, highly respected person. I have to do a little checking before I introduce people, otherwise I get in trouble. Sometimes I introduce people and they say, "Sir, did you know this or that?" But you checked out very, very well. Wow. Stories like Lakin's are one more reason why my administration will do everything in our power to end the scourge of sanctuary cities once and for all. They protect criminals. Why do people fight? They protect criminals with a vengeance. They fight for these criminals like murderers. They're protecting murderers. They fight for them so hard. There's something wrong with them. We're joined today by so many angel families who are grieving a terrible loss. They've gone through hell. Steve Ronnebeck was the father of 21-year-old Grant Ronnebeck, a beautiful guy, who was shot and murdered by an illegal alien while he was working behind the counter of a convenience store in Arizona. He was working behind the counter. Steve, would you please come forward?
Well, I want y'all to, the reason why I picked up this video, and especially for myself being African American, this is one of the ways they did justify Jim Crow laws and, oh, it's a black man that raped this beautiful white woman, and, you know, this is what the blacks do. This is what the blacks do. You know, we have to be careful when government starts to use this form of xenophobia and type of rhetoric, because for minority groups, they could be greatly harmed. It's just like saying Jews are they're greedy. They're like, that's what happened to the Jews in Nazi Germany as well. And you lose a sense of humanity through these labels. You know what I'm saying? While the dominant society, they're Americans, right? They're Americans. They're not Jewish American. They're not African American. They're not Latino American. They're not Asian American. No, they are Americans. So you got to understand this trick, this Jedi mind trick that the government use. It's a form of manipulation that pushes agendas through emotion. All right, so we're seeing, like, Trump understands that ICE has been out there on the streets. They have killed Alex Petty. You know what I'm saying? They have killed an American citizen. You know what I'm saying? In the process of enforcing ICE in Minnesota and things like that. And it was a failure in Minnesota. And, you know, a lot of people have been judged. Some people have lost their job behind it. But I want y'all to know that he's basically trying to do damage control through sympathy. All right? Sympathy. The same thing the person in the chat was saying, like racism, black people, whatever, you know, all that kind of stuff. It's the same thing that they were accusing me of, and I was just calling stuff out. You know what I mean?
Talk about your boy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good to see you. You know, I spent some time with President Trump in his first election. President Trump talked about Grant even before he was elected in 2016. And finally, we had hope. We had hope that it was going to end.
All right, guys, before we move forward, I just want you guys to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Let me call some names in the chat real quick. We'll go forward. Shout out to Alice Snow. Shout out to you. And the Japanese Americans. Okay, Asian Americans as well. DD, Sarah Sun. Flowers was good. Zema John was good. I think that Scarlet Love was good. And who else? Do Patriotic was good. 7 was good. Logan was good. You know, regardless of what you say in the chat, you're free to speak how you want to speak. I do have words sanctioned, okay? Yeah, we had to get rid of that one. I usually don't get rid of people, but yeah, we got rid of that. All right? All right, so let's go ahead and go for it. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. You know what I'm saying? I need you. You know what I'm saying? I need you. So help me out with that, guys.
I was just talking to Secretary Noem that we all sat around a table one day during one of our visits to Washington. And again, the word preventable came up. All these deaths at the hands of illegal immigrants are preventable. They could have been stopped. We could have done so much more, unfortunately, at the hands of an election that we question. Somebody took their foot off the brakes and put their foot on the accelerator to let these people into our country. And it wasn't just regular people, it was criminals, it was murderers, killers, rapists. And now today, we are finally going to see that somebody's going to remember all of our loved ones. They're going to remember the names, and they're going to remember what we've all been through. Thank you, Mr. President.
Going on, Danny.
And think of it, I'm not talking politics, I'm just talking life. If that election, if it wasn't rigged, it was a rigged election by millions and millions of votes. A guy that never left his basement, it was all run by crooked people. COVID was a little bit of a shield. We had a lot of things going on. But it was rigged by millions of votes. We did great in that election.
Yeah, in the base.
If that election wasn't rigged, every single one of the people in this room right now would not be here. You'd be home with your son, daughter, family. We had a strong border. You know, we solved it twice, Tom. We solved it in 2016. The border was bad. Nothing like it was this time. It was like beautiful compared to this time. This was legendary. In the history of the world, there's never been a border like this where millions of people poured in. At least 25 million people. And many of them were the wrong people. Many. You know, when countries fill up the caravans, they don't fill them up with their finest. I wouldn't. And I would do exactly what they did if the United States would be willing to take all of our criminals and people, or people that don't work. But they are smart people. I got to know most of those leaders. I know them. I said, what are you doing? They said, look, it was a totally open border. They saved hundreds of millions of dollars, and they gave it to us, and we've done a great job. Tom Homan, Kristi Noem.
Who are some of these leaders that talk to him? What's their names?
Our people, they've been incredible, the job they've done. And they take nothing but abuse, but, you know, they're sort of pretty hardened to that, I think, because they know they're doing the right thing. It just amazes me that there's not more support out there. It's just, we actually have a silent support. I think it's silent. I think it's well, that's how I won. I got probably 85 million votes. They say 78 million, 79 million. They cheated in this election, too. It was just too big to rig. Too big to rig. But they cheated like hell. They can't win on policy. Men and women's sports. We have a new one, though. Voter ID. I think that's as crazy as they won't approve voter ID. They won't approve proof of citizenship. They won't approve no mail-in ballots, even though they know it's crooked as hell. Where the ballots are sent to, in many cases, Democrats. Republicans don't get theirs, and they're calling frantically to get their ballot. A Democrat will get 3, 4, 5, 6, and even 7 ballots. And then we're supposed to win. That's what they're good at. They're professional cheaters. But
sound like a victim,
I'm just thinking as we're going through it, because we've suffered through it together. I suffer for the country. I mean, it's the people I've gotten to know, the mothers and fathers, mostly mothers and fathers. Husbands in some cases, wives in some cases, but mostly mothers and fathers, what they have to go through. Also with us is Marie Vega, the mother of Javier Vega Jr., a retired U.S. Marine and Border Patrol agent, so respected, who was murdered in front of his family by 2 illegal aliens, bad ones, really bad ones. People you could look at them and you could say, trouble. Trying to steal his family's trucks. He wanted to take everything the family had, but the trucks and...
Bubba say you need 2 forms of ID to shovel snow. Shout out to you, Bubba. Y'all make sure y'all hit the like and subscribe.
particular. Marie, please come forward. Thank you, darling. Thank you.
President Trump, on behalf of my family and I, thank you for hosting this beautiful remembrance in honor of our loved ones who were killed by illegal aliens. As you said, August the 3rd, 2014, my husband Javier, my son, Marine and Border Patrol Agent Javier Harvey Vega, his wife, 2 of his sons and a friend, and I were fishing in Santa Monica, Texas. Within minutes of settling in, we were ambushed by 2 illegal aliens with many priors. Without warning, they jumped out of their stolen vehicle with guns that were not supposed to be in their possession in an attempt to steal 2 4-wheel drive vehicles. While trying to defend us, Harvey was shot in the chest and killed. My husband, Javier Sr., was shot in the back. Remember, you all, children were there fishing with their friends, and they just kept shooting. You could hear the bullets just whizzing past you. Javier Sr. returned fire with this weapon, and I grabbed the AR that Harvey had attempted to defend us with, and I returned fire as well. Had we not fired back, they would have killed everyone there, including the children, so that there wouldn't be any witnesses. And they killed an amazing man, a loving and honorable dad and husband. Thank God we have you in office. Without you, America and the world would not know the consequences of open borders. Thank you for restoring law and order. Thank you for acknowledging us, the angel families. Every day I think of you and the heavy weight of a nation that you carry with you. I can't.
And let me just say this. If you get arrested, and I said this earlier, but if you get arrested and you're a legal alien and like you are convicted of the crime, if you're not supposed to be here, I do believe you need to be deported. No questions asked. If you've been convicted of a crime, okay, you're not supposed to be here, or you are a convicted felon from another country, you should not be in the United States. Like you shouldn't. And like I said, I have been at anti-ICE protests, you know what I'm saying, for other reasons based off civil rights, a new form of police, federal police that are on the ground, that violates a lot of, that's a secret way of violating the Constitution. So we basically have a standing army, federal army in the streets, you know what I'm saying, to a certain degree. Where people have to present their papers on some Nazi Germany type shit. So that was one of my reasons for being there. But I am not stupid, or I'm not oblivious to, what things like this that can happen. I had a family member that got hit by an illegal alien that basically had a fake Tennessee tag years ago, and just left the car, and we didn't even know who that car belonged to. Okay? It was a woman in that car. You know what I'm saying? And then we found that at that point, Tennessee was giving out these tags, or they was doing something with Tennessee at that point. That was like many, many years ago. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? This type of stuff can be prevented. Now, if the justice system does know they should have the power, if you're convicted of a serious crime, if you're in there trying to steal bread because you're hungry or something like that, okay, yeah. But, when it's like serious stuff that like grand theft, violence or something like that, you have a country that you can go to. It's unfortunate. Okay? Now, this did happen to this lady in her family, and my heart is with her and her grief.
Can't imagine what it must be like to wake up every morning worked so diligently amid attacks and resistance from the left to deal with the craziness, the fraud, and the swamp.
Like I said, I'm an independent. Okay, so I don't really care about like when Obama was in office. I was on Obama's head. When Bush was in office, I was on Bush's head. You know what I'm saying? When Trump was in office the first time, I was on his head. I'm gonna be very critical about everything. But if, like I said, if they are out there, if it's out there that we have illegal immigrants, okay, we have illegal immigrants that have been arrested, they got priors, and this type of stuff can be prevented because I'm 40 some years old, okay. You know, I may not look it or whatever. I'm 40 some years old. You know, I got a little gray in the top of my head or whatever that gives that away or whatever. But, you know what I mean? I'm not going to be oblivious to what is apparent that what we need to do here in the United States. These people need to go home if they want to be violent. I'm 40 years old. I have never committed an act of violence. I have never been arrested. I could get a federal job. I was a federal employee 2 years ago. Right? Myself. So, you know, I could pass a security background check. You know what I mean? So I never did anything to put myself in that jeopardy. But I do understand people that are into the crime life, especially from other countries where they don't have security cameras, they don't have things to keep up, whatever. And they have, some of these people do have a different mentality from other countries. It's just apparent. Okay? Now, if you go on Twitter, sometimes you might see some uploads from South America, Africa, and some of these third world countries, and then they post violence, they post a lot of things on there where there's sometimes dead bodies in the streets some places. Okay? We're not used to seeing that. When someone's dead, usually there's cops, they rope the place off. We're very, very, we are very tender people here in the United States. But there are some people that have seen a lot of stuff. And like this lady said, if it wasn't for her firing back, she probably would have lost her whole family. But she lost her husband. Okay.
But you get it done day in and day out, all while finding solutions to making America great again. You absolutely amaze me. Please know that we see it, and we, the masses, your constituents, are behind you 100%. When you were elected the first time, for the first term as president, I remember saying to my boss, this is exactly what this country needed, a businessman. You did an outstanding job then, and although you were cheated out of the second term, by the way, you won that election as well, and we know it. I knew the third term was going to be epic, and here we are, mega. Before I end this, I have to share a sweet story with you about my daddy. He absolutely hated the way people treated you and attacked you. On your third run for office, he said to me, "Mijita," which means my little daughter in Spanish, "can you check to see if I'm up to date and still registered to vote? We need to make sure President Trump gets into office." I said, "Of course, Daddy." And I did, and I checked, and he was registered to vote. We lost a great man, April the 3rd of 2025, and that would be my daddy. Again, thank you for everything. Thank you for backing Border Patrol and ICE and backing these families. Thank you so much. I love you.
So beautiful. You know, I was thinking as you were saying that running again for a third time after having gone through what we went through the second time, which was so horrible, so much cheating, so much deception and viciousness, and you could see what they were going to do. And I'm here now, and it's a much more powerful term than my second term would be. And much more powerful. And one of the reasons is everybody sees how bad they were. And I had to go through, and I still do, fake stories, fake polls. I mean, I had polls for the election that showed I was going to get swamped, and I won in a landslide. They were fake polls because polls are tough, when you get a fake.
Yeah, I hate on Trump because I be doing the same thing. I be beating my own drum, but Trump never missed a beat with beating his own drum about it was a landslide. I was, I was gonna get swamped, but I won in a landslide. I would have had more, but they cheated, and it was just overwhelming. I do that myself, so I can't hate.
Poll, I get them today. I saw one today that I'm at 40%. 40%. I'm not at 40%. I'm at much higher than that. I mean, I'd love to run against anybody. The real polls say you kill everybody. It wouldn't even be close. But you go through the fake polls, you go through the fake stories. And I said, I'm
going to be very honest, right? I know I'm being very critical of Trump, but if I do like the trajectory of where the country is going, I do like the majority of his ideas when it comes down to family values, gender identity, sports, and things like that. I think that a lot of that stuff was being weaponized against people just, seeing their daughters get, like, in Florida, but like in Florida, and I think Ron DeSantis banned that. I'm not sure, I can look it up, but in Florida, they had these two black boys that were winning like one state, running like Olympian type of, they would call themselves transgender, had nothing changed for what you can see, but because they said they were transgender, they were like winning all the things. And I'm like, then we had the Fallon Fox thing, where Fallon Fox was, born a man and, breaking skulls and things like that, you know what I mean? So there had to be some balance in the force, right? The liberal agenda was going too hard, and they were being too lax. And let's be honest, the Democrats did give their butt for Black Americans to kiss when it came down to politics. They went out their way to do nothing for a foundation on African Americans, which I'm not an immigrant at all. I've been here before all of you. My great-great-great-grandfather fought in the Revolutionary War. His name was John Tony. You can look him up. If I go back to college, I can get a $10,000 scholarship because I'm related to one of the soldiers in the Revolutionary Army here in the United States, the original. Okay? So, that's what I do like a lot of things Trump has done. I do believe that the Democrats could, if they would have compromised a lot more with the borders and did their job as enforcing the law, and they get too swayed by this. They were too swayed by the LGBT agenda and other agendas and things like that. That was just like, it alienated a lot of people. It's like some things are just common sense. They just pushed that. Especially Obama. Obama pushed that a lot. Biden pushed it as well. And with the borders, I believe that's the reason why they did lose. America does want its white hegemony identity. That's a fact. Okay? And you see Trump is there to push that. And I do know it's for other reasons outside of what I want or what I believe that Trump is in office. But I can't say that I'm going to be very honest and say I do like what he has done, the tariffs and things like that. Me being into tech and everything, like the graphics cards, I love to get, graphics cards for the computers and stuff like that. It costs, everything shot up because of the tariffs or whatever, as far as computer stuff and everything like that. But let's get back to the content.
It was good because this is really a much more powerful term than I would have had if I had run, because it was just one of those things. There would be nothing to compare it to. And now they compare it to Biden and that horrible, horrible administration. And I mean it, it is more powerful. Our military is much more powerful. We rebuilt it mostly in the first term. Then they gave away a chunk of it. And as much as it was, it's very small relatively, Tom. But we gave it to the Taliban. Just walked out. We could have taken it with us. They said, oh, I think it's cheaper to leave the planes. Just put a little jet fuel and fly it to a neighbor or fly it right home. Sir, I think it's cheaper. I think we'll save money by leaving a $150 million jet on the runway. These people are crazy. But I said, and I've said to a lot of people, it's much better what happened, but not for you people, it's not. And then I go back and say, but I wish it didn't, because every one of your loved ones would be alive today. Everyone in this room, I think, maybe there's one where it could have sneaked through during our term, but I don't think so. We had a very tough border. We had we solved it in 2016, and we had a very strong border. I would say nothing is as strong as what we have now, but we had a very strong border. We had a good border. We had a sane border. It was sane. And I say, I like this much better, much more respect. You read about all these crazy shooters, but they only go after consequential presidents. They don't go after non-consequential presidents, If you take a look, Abraham Lincoln, some big one. John Kennedy, in a certain way, was very consequential. He represented something very...
President in our modern era was Lyndon B. Johnson. He the one pushed the Civil Rights Bill. That's what got passed. That's what created modern America, right? Integration. He's the most consequential. Kennedy was teetering on doing that, but, his vice president, who became president, was the most consequential, in my opinion.
Consequential, and I was told that. I saw that the other day. They said they only go after consequential. So maybe I want to be a little bit less consequential. Can we hold it back a little bit, please, Tom? Can we just, nice and easy? Let's be a normal president for a little while. Because we had the greatest first term, I think, of any president in history. A lot of people have said that. Even radical left people have said that. And so it's, But the one problem is that, and every time I say it, I go back to the one thing. I said, but we wouldn't have had 25 million people allowed to come into our country, totally unchecked, totally unvetted. And those are the people that destroyed your lives. They destroyed your lives. They wouldn't be there. So I always say I like it better, but there's one thing I don't like better, and that's what they did. Because I think that's the single biggest problem. He gave us inflation, highest inflation we've ever had. I solved that. Right now, inflation's at a very low number. How about gasoline? I was in Iowa, $1.85 a gallon.
Yeah, now gas, boy. Listen, bro. Hey, it's easy to fill that tank up now. It is, boy. When Biden was in office now, like I told you, I'm an independent. I'm a truth teller. I don't care about none of these people. All right? Gas, $2.80. I started dropping out $2.80. I remember going, when Biden was in office, buying $5 a gallon almost. It was $4.99. I'm like, come on, y'all gotta help out, man. The price of food is still expensive as hell. Right now, steak and everything. I remember, I'm gonna go buy a steak or buy some lamb. And I think everybody think that steak and any kind of red meat is gourmet now. You know what I'm saying? It's gourmet is $5 billion or whatever. You know what I mean? So food is still a little high, but overall the gas is dropped a lot.
I solved that. I did a great job with that. Price.
Speaking of commerce, guys, do a labor of love of commerce. Hit that like button. That I got a super chat there. If you want a super chat, if you feeling rich, and we got a lot of conservative, rich Republicans here. We got some liberal Democrats. You know what I'm saying? We probably got some Kennedys in the clouds and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? Some Clintons and all of that in the clouds. So maybe Barack Obama's watching. Shout out to you. Y'all have the money, and you can send a super chat, but you can also hit that like button for the free 99 on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. Do that for me, please. I do this all the time, and I live here in Palm Beach, and I have a lot of stuff from Palm Beach and Mar-a-Lago I'm going to upload, because I live 2 miles away from where you at.
These are coming way down, and I'll get them down further. But Christ, no matter. By the way, if I came up with a cure for cancer. They would say, he should have done it years ago. There's not a thing I can do where these people are going to give me credit, and that's okay because we won in a landslide, so the people understand. The people understand. But the one thing that I regret about the election and the process.
Hold on, got someone asked the questions in the chat. I did see that. So, okay, first of all, okay, we got the buff American guitarist. First of all, I am probably the only one in this chat along with you that is an original American. Okay, I'm probably the only original American. My great-great-great-grandfather, John Tony, fought in the American Revolutionary War. And my father's line was free blacks the whole time. And I'm a native as well. Do you see me going bald? We don't go bald. I got shovel teeth like you. Okay. All right, cool. Got native blood, all that. All that. John Tony married a Native I think he married a Native American woman as well. Got you there.
Because it's a much bigger, more important. You look at what we're doing throughout the world. We're respected like we've never been before. But the one thing that I can't do anything about is that he allowed 25 million people, many of these murderers, drug lords, criminals, people from mental institutions. They emptied their mental institutions, Tom, is that right? All over the world, not just in South America. They emptied their jails. Many of them from all over the world. Why? Why would we do this? And they walk in, nobody even asks for, like, do you have an identification?
I know they entered the mental institution here on YouTube. I know that for a fact.
Do you have an ID? It's so crazy. You know, the mayor of New York, and he's a very nice person. I met him, but his ideology is not too good. But we're having a massive snowstorm right now, and I've heard that he's asked people to come out and help shovel the snow. Okay, so you get a shovel and you start shoveling, right? What the hell, you're not going to help too much, but you can help. And hello, darling, how are you? No, right behind you, look, my friend, right? Are you okay? Yes, you. Are you okay? Are you okay? Good. Good. Are your eyes okay? I gave her money to get her eyes fixed. A lot of money to get her eyes fixed. That doctor ripped me off, but that's okay. And when do you go? Well, you get them done. It's an operation, but it's 100%. You know, it's great. It's Wednesday. Good. You're going to have 20/20 vision. She's almost blind, cataracts. She's almost blind. And with one operation, that will take a very short period of time. Hope you have a good doctor. He's an expensive doctor, top of the line, right? But you know what? You're going to have 20/20 vision. Because I noticed you're wearing glasses. I saw you yesterday on television wearing glasses, and I said, well, but anyway. But, you know, speaking of your family, it would be a lot different right now, except for the election. So I always say, it's too bad that happened. And if I had it to do again, it's despite the tremendous job we're doing now, I wish it could have been the other way, because we wouldn't even be having this meeting right now. There'd be nobody. I wouldn't have gotten to know you. But it's gotten to know you under very bad circumstances, right? The worst circumstances. So one of those things. But the thing I can't understand is why the press isn't more supportive. They're so dishonest. The stories, the polls, they polled you, they say, oh.
Now, I will say, like, I've looked into some other liberal stuff as well. I don't want to mention it because I did do a story on another page about some other stuff, right? Research, some statistics, even an AI and ChatGPT that the government would have, right? So I was looking up something with like HIV among black men in America that are homosexual, things like that. Then I asked a certain question to AI live. And AI was like, oh, we can't talk about that. All right. And that proved my point of what I want to talk about in that particular subject matter. So there is cover-ups that go on, when it comes down to like liberal agendas and conservative agendas. Now, as we see, we have the Epstein Files, and around the world, you got Lord Peter Mandelson get arrested. You got the former Prince Andrew Mountbatten, he got arrested. You know what I mean? And they're facing life, okay, in the UK for like finances and their ties to Epstein or whatever through corruption. I haven't seen anybody in the United States get arrested. But in other countries, in Europe, they are taking care of business, as far as these people that are not Americans, okay? So, it works on both sides. There's a lot of people that are guilty by association with, Jeffrey Epstein, all right? And that does look bad on Trump. You can't get around that and his Justice Department.
The angel moms, I think the angel moms are the finest people I've met. I mean, the angel moms and families and dads, but these are unbelievable people. Why are they so angry with angel moms? They had their child killed. Stories that are so horrible I'm not going to mention. A couple of people are in the room. What they did with the child after they murdered the child. It's not even, and these people are actually on the side of the criminal. I don't get it, Tom. Someday, you're going to explain it to me. But I don't think you can either. It's crazy. Laura Wilkerson is another American mom whose 18-year-old son, Joshua was horribly beaten, tortured, and murdered by an illegal alien who went totally crazy. And just went to school. And I'd like to ask Laura to come up and say a few words about Joshua. Please, hi. Another one of my friends, one of my original friends, right?
Thank you so much for having me today. My name is Laura Wilkerson, and I want to thank everybody for their help in gathering us here, the American Border Story and the White House, and all of your helpers. I thank you for that. I met a man about 11 years ago who was running for office, and he sat with us a couple of days, and he watched as the tears rolled down my face as I told him the story of how our youngest son Joshua was brutally beaten, tortured, strangled to death, and his body set on fire. The man next to me was President Trump. He never, ever looked away from my pain. He looked me straight in the eye, and he said, "I will never forget the story of your sweet son, and I will never..."
That on fire. Jesus Christ. Well, listen, I'm going to contact my congressman, and I will get in contact with Donald Trump. I'm not going to lie. He set my family on fire. I'm just saying. There's nothing you killed them. He will set them on fire. Jesus.
Never give up fighting for the American family. I looked at him, and I believed him. And here we are these years later, and you can tell all of the work he's done. He's never missed a day of fighting for the American family. I don't know if I've ever met a man who is more interested in this country and running this country and getting it back in shape. And I'm so grateful for what he does every single day. I can't even pretend to understand the spiritual battles that swirl around the office of the presidency and the man who owns that office. I would ask that God breathe a fresh breath of air through this administration so that he can calm those spiritual battles and allow our president to continue to do the hard work. Jesus works on my family every day, still healing us today. And I am just so incredibly grateful for the man who's in office, who never quits. He is sidelined so many times, but we know the man, Jesus, who can take care of that. And we pray today in his name that he will sweep through this country and make it right again. Thank you so much for having me.
That takes a. I mean, I don't know how I'll feel if somebody set my family on fire after they kill them. That's just crazy. But like I said, guys, you know what I mean? We have to treat everybody with human rights. You know what I'm saying? Like even with ICE and things like that, you know, regardless, there is human rights. We have to treat the illegals with human rights. But like I said, if you are a known criminal, I do believe that you should be deported if you're a legal alien. You get caught up by law enforcement. Okay? You know what I mean? It's just, you know, that's, like I said earlier in the stream, in some of these third world countries, I had a friend from the Dominican Republic, and they used to, over in the Dominican Republic, they'll post some horrible stuff, like somebody's whole face torn off, laid in the street. You know? And some of these third world countries, it's savage. They ain't got no problem seeing somebody burn. When someone dies here in the United States, police, like I said, they put the yellow tape, it's a crime scene, they're going to cover the body, all that kind of stuff. You may have seen it happen in real time, but by the time the police come in, they're going to push everybody out the way. So we are very sensitized to death and that kind of stuff. But when some people come from other countries, you know, they got a whole different mentality. You know, they don't fight the same. You know? And I'm not being xenophobic when I say that. It's just real. Like, that can just, it's enough that you lose a loved one, but you get set on fire, that's just atrocious.
Well, I just want to thank you. It's amazing. The words are so beautiful. So beautiful. I get introduced often, and I'm getting introduced by people. In many cases, they hate me. And they don't give me nice introductions like that. But all we're doing is the right thing. It's sort of simple, right? It's sort of simple, and but not simple for you. And that's when I was running, actually. That was before I won. I didn't know if I was going to win or not. I was running against 17 politicians. You knew. That's nice. But no, I never forgot that. Jody Jones is a loving brother whose cherished sibling Rocky was killed by an illegal alien real monster, who went on a deranged crime spree after being released from prison as part of a California sanctuary city policy. Jody, please come up. Thank you.
In the meantime, guys, if you want to help out the channel, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let me give a shout out to some of the people in the chat. I spoke to Bubba, Collie Green, Clean, Tech Support, Old School, Danny Hemphill, Didi, Sarah Sun. I spoke to you already. Shout out to everybody that's here. Bucky Ann's Creations. Who else we got here? I'm not AI, so y'all thought I was AI. Penny, Helgley. All right. Sean Wolf Harper. All right, so let's get back to it. USA, USA, USA. All right.
Well, I have this speech, but I'm not going to give it. What I'm going to tell you is from my heart. I want to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, first of all, before I do anything. I want to thank the American Border Story, and I absolutely...
And I'm just saying this, guys. I've lost my best friend to murder by accident. So my best friend, when I was younger, was a city worker, and he got shot, he was off work by mistaken identity 6 times with an AK-47. And it took a lot of faith for me to move forward. Okay? I got more tight with God when I was at that age. Because of it. So you notice a lot of people there talking about God and Jesus and things like that. It takes a lot of faith to lose a loved one suddenly to move forward with your life. You can fall into a real deep depression. So I'm gonna let him go.
I really want to thank President Donald J. Trump. Thank you, sir, for putting America first and putting these angel families first and letting everybody know their stories, because we matter. Thank you, sir. My brother Rocky Jones was murdered by a criminal illegal alien. He was simply at the wrong place at the wrong time. This man was arrested, released, and within 24 hours, he went on a shooting spree in Central California. Unfortunately, my brother was in the wrong place at the wrong time. This man shot my brother 8 times at point-blank range. I pray that no other family has to go through that. Unfortunately, they will. And just know, President Trump, I want you to know, no matter what the fake media says about you, the American people love you, and we will support you all the time, because we love you. I'm sick and tired of hearing these Democratic politicians stand up on these podiums and say how sorry they are for seeing these criminal illegal aliens being ripped apart from their families. What about us? What about the American family? What about us? We mean something too. And this man right here understands it. I was listening to Grandma Cook, and she said thank you to President Trump. And I love that lady. I don't even know her. I just heard her. I just got the fire inside of me. I'm like, wow, that's an American. I love America. I want you guys to understand this. Americans are not racist. We're not xenophobic because we want a safe America and we want to put Americans first. This man's not racist because he wants to put Americans first? Are you kidding me? I know you guys hear it all the time, but we are not. And I'm going to tell you something. I love America. I love Donald Trump. I love my family. And by gosh, I love America. Thank you very much, Donald Trump. President Trump, you are the man. You are the man. I want to say this. I'm going to end here. I want to say this. I love my country. God bless you. God bless Donald Trump. And God bless America.
Well, thank you very much. It's incredible. I want to now introduce somebody that I get to know pretty well. We just had a little discussion. Wonderful mothers, Patty Morin, who lost her beautiful daughter Rachel, and Tammy Nobles, who lost her daughter Kayla. Your daughters would be unbelievably proud, and they are as they look down. I'm sure they're looking down. And they'd be very proud of you, and they're thanking you right now for your courage. You've gone through a lot. Know you. And I just have to recognize some of the families. I mean, the families that are here this morning, I know many of them, not all of them. And you know, it grows at a pretty strong level, nothing like it was in the past. You remember when, during the campaign, Biden would say, and then I guess Kamala, it's the same thing, same ideology, same level of intelligence, I think. But she would say, and he would say, no, it's wonderful to have the people come into our country. These are fine people, these are nice people, and they don't commit crime. And I called Tom home and I said, what's the story on that? Because I think they're really violent. And Tom would say, these are the most violent people in the world. They're coming in. These make I remember you said, these make our criminals look like choir boys. And you know what? You were right. You were right. But I want to thank those two people because what they went through. And I want to recognize all of the families here this morning who have lost loved ones, a lot of families. Thousands are not here, and they're feeling just the way you do, sad. And continue to fight. You know, they say time helps, but I've seen some people and the time isn't not helping that much. Time, they say it heals all wounds, but it's not. Do you feel better now or the same? You know, you got to feel a little bit better. You got to let it, but it's not like the phrase, wonderful phrase.
You never get over losing a loved one to murder. Right? I'm just being honest. You know, you have to have your faith. The best way you can heal is have a faith belief system and just believe that one day you're going to see them and that they're arrested. I'm telling you from firsthand experience. I lost a lot of friends.
Time heals like everything's going to. Excuse me? Yeah, I know. We'll continue to fight, though, and we'll stop this horrible situation, and we have stopped a lot of it. A big thing, you know, you saw that murders are down for the most in 125 years. That's before my father was born in 1905. 5 years before my father was born. My father was great. But so in 1900, 125 years, the murders, the lowest rate. You know why? Because I closed the borders, and we got a lot of people out. It's not just closing; we got a lot of people out. Washington D.C. is now a safe.
Now the murders nationally, you know, we have illegal immigrants in the country, but they are not the majority of Americans. You know, just come on.
Right.
That's kind of like a false narrative right there.
We don't want to close the borders with them in here. We got a lot of them out, and we got many of the worst ones out. We go for them first. But I want to conclude by reading part of a letter I received earlier this year from two heartbroken grandparents who will never again see their 8-year-old granddaughter after an illegal alien ran her over with his truck purposely. They wrote to me, "We are hurting so badly, and now know that the hurting in our family will never go away. It never, ever will go away. We're not seeking notoriety. We don't care about press coverage, but we do want our girl to be remembered. We want people to actually know how preventable this murder was. And lastly, we want the American government to be accountable to its citizens." True. They should be accountable for what they did. That's my administration, and I will tell you, fighting, and we're fighting so hard. All of them, everybody together is fighting. We're putting American citizens first. We're defending American lives, and we're fighting for every angel family. Angel families are beautiful families. They're beautiful families. That was my first, early on when we first met, that was my first, I didn't know about angel families, you know. I never did this before, right? I was building buildings and things. But I said, I can't believe it. My first meeting, they were so angry at the press, at a mom who lost her daughter so violently, right? You might have been there. The first meeting, I said, this is strange. What's going on? It was anger from the fake news. But the angel families, I realized very early on, I never changed. I could see how you'd change, though. You know, you have to go through this stuff. But never changed. I thought they were among the greatest people I've ever met. I've met the heads of countries. A lot of them aren't so nice, but, you know, they do have some power. And we've done very well with all of those people. But among the finest people I've ever met are the people in this room and many people outside of this room. I know many, many more than just in the room.
How are you doing, Stephanie?
But we restored our border, and that's now totally secure, and our country is at the safest level it's been in many, many years. How could anyone possibly say we want open borders, knowing, especially, let's say you did that because you're foolish or stupid or something, and you did it, but after a couple of weeks, you're going to know that the people coming here, if you're running a country, you want to send your bad people out. That was the way I looked at it. I didn't know anything about it. I ran for office, but I have a lot of sense. And I said, well, open borders is no good because if I'm running the country nearby or far away, I had no idea how far away. They came.
But those that don't know, you know, that's how Australia was founded, through prisoners from England that were released there. Y'all didn't know that.
From the Congo in Africa. They came from all over, not just South America. Congo let vast numbers, hundreds and hundreds, and probably thousands of people out of jail. They brought them through Mexico and they dropped them into our country. But you would say that common sense, well, and I said it right from almost the first day. I said, how could you have an open border? All the countries are going to be dropping their prisoners into us. That's exactly what happened. And mental patients and others. So we have a country that's now doing well. We have the greatest economy we've ever had. We have the most activity we've ever had. I'm making a speech tomorrow night, and you'll be hearing me say that. I mean, it's going to be a long speech because we have so much to talk about. But Americans like Lakin and Grant and Javier and Joshua, Rocky.
So the union address will start around 9 p.m. Eastern tonight. So I'll look at some of the clips, and another time we will review some of the stuff. You know, if it's willing, but the news is going to be all over it. The major news is going to be all over it. So I'll try to get some of the speeches that he did that are kind of quiet.
Rachel, Kayla, these are great people, and we're never going to forget them. I'll never forget them. I don't know how long I'll be around. Got a lot of people gunning for me, don't I? Huh? But I will not forget them. I'm never going to forget them. And I just think you're among the most brave people. I meet a lot of brave people. I meet warriors. They give out congressional medals of honor where people recommend, like these two in front of me who are so wonderful, but they recommend, and I meet the greatest people. But this is a group of people that for whatever reason I just feel maybe the warmest about. So at least you have one friend, and we don't understand why you don't have many, and maybe you will. I don't know. So I'm going to go sign the proclamation, and then we're going to sit in the audience. I'm going to sit with you for the reading of the victims' names, and I'll then depart to a song sung by our incredible, talented military, Amazing Grace. Okay? Sound good? Now, we could have some of the families come up, some of the people come up. You know who you are, and come on, you can stand around me. I don't use an auto pen, so you can watch me actually sign it. Okay. We'll do this the right way. Do you have, I want to give coins to the family, okay? Could I?
I had one for you, and I couldn't bring anything inside.
I know, Secret Service. Well, you'll get it to me.
Say hi to Trump.
Am I?
Hi, Trump.
Hi, sweetheart.
Little Emma.
Oh.
Secret Service wouldn't even let her bring the coin in. They're like, oh, nah, that's metal. You probably do something to him.
Hi, Emma.
Little Kella.
Very good. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, you ready, Emma? We're going to sign this, okay?
Okay.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You take care of yourself. You can hold.
I want to thank everybody as well. We're going to continue the video to the end. But I want to thank everybody as well. Please subscribe to the channel. You know what I'm saying? Do that labor of love, subscribing. Hit the like button. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. I greatly appreciate all of you guys, whether you're conservative, liberal, illegal immigrant, American citizens, Native American citizen. You know what I mean? Whatever you are, you're more than welcome to be here. Just be respectful in the chat, and you will not get blocked, okay? Your opinion is valued, all right? So make sure you subscribe and hit the like button in the meantime, guys. You are all I got.
That, at least for a little while before.
I'm not taking it.
Thank you. So let's do this candle lighting, and it's very beautiful. Please.
My daughter's my birthday.
Thank you very much.
I can't tell you how much I love you.
This Tyler.
So I'm gonna end it after the singing. I appreciate everybody coming through. I appreciate y'all's support. Please come back. hit the like button. I'm not even begging y'all for any money, but I am begging you guys for your participation and subscription and like.
We will now light a candle in honor of the victims in solidarity with their families. Following the lighting of the candle, the names of the victims will be read aloud so that their memory may be honored.
Katie Abraham, Chad Eistrup, Austin Babcock, Megan Elizabeth Ida Boz, Jesse Bird, Liam Cantu, Michael Clayton, Gail Clayton, Sander Cohen, Pierce Corcoran, Ronald De Silva, Jackson Davis, Christopher James De Leon, Joseph Di Tommaso, Marshall Dova, Brady English, Shaylee Estes, Lacey Marie Ferguson, Maura Garrity,
Little girl.
Tristan Gray, Kayla Hamilton, Aaron Joshua Hampton, Brady Heiling, Susan Hine, Haley Helgeson, Kyler Holbein, Gregory Hamala, Gabriel Kaleshi Isiguzo Jr., Rocky Paul Jones, Shane Jones, Stephanie Kaufman, Haley King, Amy Courtlang, Ryan.
I do want to say this is tragic because the U.S. government do have laws against, illegal immigrants. And I have to be fair about that. Like, I talk about everything, and I'm going to just be fair about that as well, right? But especially those that have committed crimes and that have already been in trouble with law enforcement. But all these people that you're seeing on the street that they're showing are the deceased of illegal immigrants, violence.
White, Brian Moss, Robert Mopin, Lisbeth Medina, Brandon Mendoza, Brandon Michael, Dominic Montoya, Jonathan Moody Jr., Ruben Morfin, Rachel Morin, Krisha Odette, Nikolay Osokin, Rocco Pitro, Laken Riley, Grant Ronnebeck, Matthew Russell, Kayla Santiago, Danielle.
And guys, these pictures, they do something to you. When I after 9/11, I used to watch the PBS News Hour. I think it was called the Near News Hour at one point. I probably not say the word right, but they used to show some of the soldiers that died. And sometimes I watched this stuff, when I was younger, and I would cry, based off because I was the same age as these people, and I related to them, right? So these pictures are very traumatic to a lot of people. You know what I mean? I'm older and everything like that. You're not gonna see me cry or whatever, but it's very traumatic to see some of these people. And like I said, it is a form of it is a form of opportunist banter from Trump, like Mark Anthony. You know what I'm saying? When it comes down to like how Mark Anthony said, Romans, friends, and countrymen, lend me your ears, why I have come here to bear Caesar, not to praise him. The good that men do is interred in their bones, and the evil that they do lives after them. So let it be with noble Caesar. And the Romans went into an uprising after that, and they went and killed the conspirators that killed Julius Caesar. And politicians use that type of tactic from Mark Antony all the time. Okay. So I'm not a fool. I'm not getting lulled to sleep. I'm not asking you guys to get lulled to sleep by any politician. So this is just political science.
Nikki Shermock. Fred Schlosser. Tiara Stansbury. Kate Steinley. Joseph Story. Timmy Tarnowski. Brian Terry. Anya Varfolomeyev. Javier Vega Jr. Joshua Aaron Wilkerson. Carlos Wolf. Joseph Zhang Jr.
Somebody kind of messed up there now. Somebody was saying some other words. The tall one right here must be like the lead singer. I can hear her voice over everyone else. Okay, I'm just letting y'all know that. Yeah, they are. See. All right, y'all. Salute to y'all. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You know, be all y'all conservative. Y'all are capitalists. There must be a form of exchange. This is not communism here. Get what I'm saying? So hit the like, hit the subscribe. We do this all the time. Y'all had a good time arguing in the chat, arguing with me. I like it. I love it. All right. I love the political scene. Peace, y'all. I see y'all another time. I gotta go eat. Thank y'all so much for enjoying me, and thank y'all so much for coming to my channel. I greatly, greatly appreciate all of you. Democrat, Republican, Independent, Libertarian, Green Party, all of that. Shout out to all y'all. You know,